Hey, welcome to the Riffs and
Rhythms
podcast.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Kevin. And we are the Riffs and Rhythms podcast.
And we know the rhythms are better.
We have a special new thing. We're going to go into realms uncharted starting tonight.
Is that what we call that thing? Is a new thing?
We have what do we have? We have some
swamp thing?
Swamp thing. Yes, we've captured it.
That's right, because he is a Florida man.
I know why they call it the skunk ape now.
Yeah, because it does smell in here, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody forgot to wash their ass.
No, that's the skunk ape.
Oh, okay.
Nobody taught it to wash. That's why it's in the wild.
So do we want to get to it and expose?
Are we going to just go right into it and just like not keep everyone in suspense the whole time?
Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned to the next episode.
Yeah, let's wait until we tell you.
So, how you been actually?
Really good, Paul. What's new?
What's new? Let me see. Where we left off. Since we last spoke, I had taped on the Drums and Rum podcast a reality TV star on Discovery Channel.
Oh, very cool.
So we did a little taping here recently, and we're going to drop the episode. We're going to see, it was a crazy show on Discovery Channel called The Garden, Commune or Cult. So this is about intentional communities where people live off the grid, supposedly. And I had 20 questions. I ran into her in West Palm at a restaurant. The show was actively on the air. I was like, let's talk, because I'm fascinated, and plus, how do I get some viewers out of this too? So so she came back into town, and she came and told her story, and already 6 episodes, all 6 episodes ran through, and so she kind of told her story here in the do we have a name for this place?
It's the Riffs and Rhythms podcast studio. Right?
Okay, there we go. That works.
Or it could be the Stonehouse. Well, there's already Stonehouse taken. It's the
Stonehenge.
Well, it could be Stonewall Production.
Stonewall
studio.
Jackson. There you go. Stonewall.
Yes,
Stonewall.
we can name the wall Jackson.
Yes.
Jackson. We just named our wall.
Yes.
It's Jackson.
So we'd like you to introduce to the podcast the thing here.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I still have some stuff to say.
Oh, we're not done yet?
No.
Okay, go for it.
I just wanted to bring about a point that I get a kick out of the fact that in order to learn how to live off the grid, you have to watch YouTube videos on the grid. So the only way to learn how to live without modern conveniences is to use them.
But then once you learn them, then you can break free of the things that repress you. And you go off on your own. You don't need it anymore because you've learned. It's like going to school.
It's just ironic to me.
I don't disagree. Well, that's exactly how I felt. So a bunch of people are running around with cell phones, and I'm like, how are these people living off the grid if there's... Anyway, so...
You can't have a cell phone if you're living off the grid.
Well, that's what I said, too.
What, do they just like paste a little grid on the ground and not ever stand on it?
No, that's why it was so poorly. So, yeah. So, anyway, so definitely if you're listening to this, check out the Riffs and Rhythms sister show, Drums and Rums, there, that I host. And so our guest will be on that, the Discovery Channel show, Naraya Santee. That is her name. And it was an interesting conversation with her. Because I was genuinely fascinated about this, and I think some of it was a testament on what it's like to be on a reality TV show and the mercy of editing and the producing, and that's not what I said or things like that.
Yeah, I've heard they manipulate things quite a bit.
Yeah. So that was kind of the story that I've got going on there. The big any kind of news of interest. So yeah, what have you been up to?
I'm just coming off of a 5-show run in 4 days.
Damn, you gotta be tired, bro.
That's why I sound like I haven't had any coffee yet.
Oh, so we go. We need to serve you up some Red Bull or some. You need a little bump.
I refuse to respond to that on the grounds that it could be self-incriminating.
Allegedly is the word.
We don't do that here.
You don't got a white beard for no reason.
It was black when I started.
It's like this is like the scene in Godfather.
Yep, that's right. It's just it helps me catch things that might drip out, fall out.
It's a flavor saver.
Anyway, no, I don't know anything about that sort of thing.
All right. Anyway, your 5 shows.
5 shows. They went very well. We had 5 shows in 4 days, and something different that I don't get to do whenever I play a bike rally. I shouldn't say a bike rally, a toy run in November or December, I don't get to ride in the toy run, and that's really a lot of fun because there's lots of motorcycles there. And yesterday, I got to ride the motorcycle run, the toy run, and play.
Oh, that's cool.
That was so cool to like ride for an hour out in the middle of nowhere and come back in with like another there's probably like 500 bikes, that maybe 1,000 motorcycles. You just ride right up to the stage, put your guitar on, and blam.
So you felt like an ultimate rocker yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was nice.
You just jumped off the bike. The bike kept riding off, and then you had your guitar slung on your back, and that sounds real rock and roll. That's how.
Yeah, it was totally.
I'm
good.
sure that's how it happened.
I've been able to do that in the past, twice in the past. I was able to do that, but it's been
Cool.
It's been 20 years.
So what's let's give the shout out there to the organization there. Who was the?
Well,
who
Red
toys did
Devil
toys?
Cycles
Okay.
put it on to get toys for Tots.
Okay. Very cool.
So there's another 1,000 toys or so that they got into the Toys for Tots system.
Salvation Army, right? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I think the
okay.
Marine Corps has something
Okay.
to do with it.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
Marine Corps
Yeah.
initiative.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so that was good. And it's nice to make a difference for a good cause.
Good. So obviously tonight you have off. So you'd rather be sleeping right now instead of hanging out with me.
I'd rather be doing something, but not sleeping is what it is.
In the comments, put in what you think Kevin would rather be doing right now.
I don't know is it bad that I can think of a lot of things? I don't
Oh,
know.
I know you can think of. I've known you for a while now. I know what it is. So anyway,
All right, I'm getting antsy. We got something really cool coming up here.
do we really?
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be. We'll find out.
We'll find out when the viewers watch this show if they really think it was actually worth the anticipation.
I think it's going to be great. We've got a podcasting
This is
giant.
yeah. I think that's a fat joke, right? So it's yes, he's a podcast giant. He's a music legend.
Yeah.
Here in the Treasure Coast, South Florida area.
A media mogul.
He was media mogul.
Is mogul the right word?
A 5-time Grammy winner.
Artistic designer.
Yes, artistic
No,
designer.
he won the Shammy Awards, not the Grammy Awards.
What the hell's a Shammy Award?
That's when you buy 15 and you get 7 free from Vince, the ShamWell guy.
I can't wait to have him on now and introduce this person.
He won the Shammy
Who could
Awards.
it be? Well, Kevin and I talked about it. Was our first guest on the show that we said that only one person could actually be the first guest. And our first guest in the show is our good friend, Brad Brock.
Hello.
Oh,
Better known as Skunk Ape.
I feel like there should have been applause there for some reason.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, we'll put a little...
Yay, Brad.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
yeah.
This is a pretty cool spot. Might even rival the legendary JNC Lounge.
Wow. No,
The Stonewall Lounge.
That's
Yes,
right. Yes,
there it
Jackson. Jackson. Yes.
I'm sorry,
How you
Miss
doing,
Jackson.
Yeah. Sorry, Miss Jackson. I got my hand on your son's stones.
All right.
I was originally going to tell him to sit. He had to sit in between us, and I said, you're going to look like a dick between two balls.
And that's when I told my agent, I'll only do the show if they put me on the white couch. And so here I am.
All right, so
Well, you don't want to know why that's white.
now that you're on the couch, Brad, just tell us about your relationship
Yeah,
with your family.
lie down. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
tell us everything about that family trip you took.
Did your dad hug you?
I
enough?
don't think we have enough time in this podcast for that trip explanation, to be honest with you. But it was
Oh.
a good time.
Good. So, yeah. So you've got an upcoming season here, right?
Yes, on the Jams and Cocktails.
Wow.
I've already
Yeah.
I'm a couple of bush lights deep here over on the casting couch.
You're on your second tall one too. Jeez.
When I bought these at the gas station at the Circle K, I didn't realize that they were tall boys. But I was like, 8 beers. That's a weird.
Yeah,
It's a
more bang
weird
for the
number
buck.
to have in a case of beers.
That's unconstitutional, isn't it?
But they're tall.
8 tall ones.
Yeah, it's because I'm compensating for something.
Yes.
So you just Paul and I are following your lead in the podcast world. So thank you for the great example.
Well, thank you for following it. I'm sorry in advance.
Oh, no. So we got to go over all the list of all these great things about Brad Brock.
His accolades.
First off, he is a one-man band.
That's right.
He plays drums, bass, guitar, percussion, and sings all at the same time.
So that's why he gets paid 5 times more than you do.
Well, there's also this fact that he's got some talent involved. Yeah. Brad's got the talent, and not just in music. Now, not only is he an in-demand one-man band performer, but he is a legendary podcaster. And you can tell because the name of his studio is the legendary JNC Lounge.
That's right. That's right. Which we have been there.
We have been there. I've been there
That's
many
right.
times.
That's right.
I am the Charles Nelson Riley of the JMC podcast.
It's true.
If you don't get the reference to Kevin's joke, look back to say, what is 70s?
Yeah, every single 70s game show had Charles Nelson Riley on it.
Yeah, did he actually do anything other than that? What was he famous for?
Being on,
He wore glasses. He was kind of like goofy, kind of. Yeah, spastic. Yeah.
Wonderful hair pieces.
Oh, yeah, for
Wonderful.
sure. Yes, yeah, for sure. But yeah,
So he also designs media, right?
I do.
Our awesome logo was done by Mr. Brad Brock. That one.
It's crazy, y'all. I'm sitting here, and that doesn't really exist up there. That they're pointing. It's
Bro.
in the ether, man.
bro.
It's the magic.
No,
of,
I got to give away all your secrets now that I'm here. I am the mouthpiece of the people.
Yeah, I'll give
You
you.
see?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to expose our dirty secrets.
Yes, everything that
Yeah.
you all wanted to know
Come
about
here.
riffs and
Come here.
rhythms, I have the answers now.
Come here. I got something that'll shut you up.
Oh,
Is it a tall boy?
yes.
Yes, it is. That's what some people call it.
So you just took a trip to Motown. Obviously, you got the Motown
I did.
hat on.
I got my Motown hat. I went to Hitsville, and it was a wonderful tour that they take through the original Motown. You know, Barry Gordy just had a birthday. I think he's 94 years old now, and just an absolute mega mover in the music world, and just really did something that will stand the ages with Motown, and just, you know, to name a few of the artists, if you don't know and you're living under a rock, but Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, Diana Ross, the list goes on, and he developed these people into the amazing performers and artists that they were, and so if you're ever in Detroit, you got to go and check out the Motown Museum. It's the original houses that Barry bought to start Motown, and Studio A, which is where all of these wonderful tracks were recorded by the Funk Brothers, you know, or the backing band, the house band for Motown. And so you get to go through all of that. You go through Barry's apartment there and down into the studio.
Oh, wow.
Just some really moving, incredible stories there. And I got my souvenir. And they gave us all, because they were, I don't know, it was like their customer appreciation. And they gave everybody Barry's newest book. And,
wow.
So for free, which is crazy. I love free. Yeah. And it was moving. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, but there was a couple times during the tour where I was emotionally moved by the experience. And the tour guide was just so passionate about it that it compelled me to want to cry, but I didn't, because I'm a manly man.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. I cried later in the comfort of my own room.
So the trip was a good one.
It was a wonderful trip. It was a little cold, but we got out of there just before the snowstorm hit. And so that was delightful. Yeah, our travel was easy. The flights, everything was on time. And went to the House of Dank, because recreational marijuana is legal in Michigan. Well, that might be a story for next episode.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, hey, we haven't even invited him back. He's already talking about next
I know.
episode.
Who the fuck does he think he is, right?
Oh, I live here now. I just signed the lease this morning.
Well, you and Jackson can
That's
hang
right.
out
Yeah,
together.
that's right. Yeah, you can cuddle up. Stay warm. Don't get rock hard now.
Too late.
Oh, he know.
Uh-oh. Well, speaking of rock hard, there's a lot of stuff I've pretty much seen every episode of the JNC podcast. So what is your favorite episode memory, like your favorite moment in the podcast? Like, what sticks out?
Oh my God, we've been doing this. I did the math, and next month is our 4-year anniversary.
Oh wow!
January, and there's just been I don't even know what episode number we're on, like 180 or maybe almost 200. Wow, it's incredible. So to narrow down one memory is really tough because we've had some really fun shows, and you guys were included on it.
Yeah, that's where we met. We met on your podcast.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. It was a match.
Look at that.
It was podcasting match, and we met our mate, podcast mate.
Look at that. That was episode 2. One episode that stands out. We did, and I invited Paul to come up, and we did the tortilla slap challenge. And this was going back a while. You TikTokers out there, but for some reason, for like a couple of months, everybody was slapping each other with tortillas, and so we did that. And Paul didn't hold back. I feel like there was some animosity there, and I hope that he got it all out because we devastated an entire pack of tortillas. But the funniest one was when my sister popped Jordan, my lovely wife, in the face with a tortilla so hard the sound was deafening. It was unbelievable.
That's awesome.
And I don't know, I think 9 months later I found a tortilla,
a baby,
behind a bookshelf that had just a piece of tortilla had solidified.
Podcast shrapnel.
And the most recent, of course, was the Halloween show that Paul missed out on.
Yeah.
But when we did the haunted house and all of Kevin's clothes fell off in the haunted house.
I literally had the pants scared off of me. Not exaggerating, no symbolism. They literally came off. I haven't been that scared since I was a kid.
It was good. I did good.
Yeah.
That was such well put together that I don't remember where was that night. I think I had an event. I think there was another event we were doing for This Is Palm Beach, and I was bummed out that it kind of conflicting. And then when I went back watched the video, I was like, oh my God, just watching everyone's reactions, even your tough brother, right?
It was really he was my muse. I was like, if I could scare the shit out of Steve, can I say shit on this show?
No, you can't say shit on this show.
Yeah, but you can say fuck yeah.
Well, I was like, fuck yeah, I gotta get his ass, and I got his ass. I got right up in it.
Yeah, you did.
That sounded a little bit weird there.
Yeah,
but it was great. So the whole idea was to pair people up because I thought in my mind that sending people through with another person would make it scarier because they would amp each other up, and it did. It worked out perfectly, and shout out to Al Beltran and the Al Beltran podcast, another one of our podcasts that we're affiliated with. Al was our villain in the haunted house, and nobody knew he was in there.
He was.
Nobody knew there was a real live human in that haunted house, and he was in there terrorizing everybody.
Well, I love how the fact that they were trying to figure out who it was, right? And everyone's looking around and was like, well, anyone who would be on the show is here. And your sister said, oh, it was Paul. And then somebody made a reference like, man, yeah, oh, that makes sense now. Al's all buffed up. I'm like, I thank you, Ellie, for thinking that I look pretty buff. So the money's in the check's in the mail, Ellie. So, but yeah, that was I don't. So, do you even have any idea what you're gonna do for next year?
Man, I don't know. So I have a year to advance the technology of podcasting or video podcasting, or I don't even know. I don't even think our show is a podcast anymore. It's like late night scripted television or sketch comedy at this point. So it's like a Howard Stern radio show with video.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll be on the radio by then. We are on a couple internet radio stations that simulcast us, but I don't know, man. I have a good friend. We had her on as a guest. She's part of the Rave Mamas, and they're like these older ladies that go to these electronic dance festivals, and they kind of caught on and went viral because they have their little gray hairs and they're always at the rail right in front of the DJs, and everybody just loves them. So the one lady in there, her name is Darlene, and they're very good friends of mine. We've been friends for years. And she's a paranormal investigator. So when she's not raving, she's out going to all these with these groups
Oh, boy.
to all these really crazy haunted spots around the country.
No kidding.
And is involved in these paranormal investigations, right? So we've been trying to get her now for years to come on and be a guest to talk about that. But during Halloween time, she's always out investigating.
She's busy.
It's the spooky thing to do, you know? So I think I want to lock her down for that. I would love to do a ghost tour and film us doing a ghost tour around town somewhere. But yeah, so I don't know. The haunted house was pretty ambitious. Might not be able to do that one again.
The Treasure Coast has some seriously famous, scary spots.
100%.
So you should be able to do something with that and her.
Yep, it would be a delight. So, but yeah, I'm not sure how we're gonna up this year, but
Well, that's
I'll figure it out.
That's just it. It's like every year, 4 years of doing this, you keep stepping it up and so forth. So, yeah. So that is why you're the legend.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Cue
man.
the crickets.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for the Where's the applause from the audience?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I have a soundboard for our show, and crickets is on there. Crickets is on there because sometimes I just have a joke that doesn't land, and I have to do something.
System vibe.
Yeah, that's why it sounded like there should have been applause after your name, because whenever whoever introduces you on your show, the applause button gets hit.
Yeah.
So you actually, that's how you should, well, because you're also you're the host, right? Right. You're also the main engineer behind the scenes. You're doing it really all. So you couldn't even like come in like you're James Brown and kind of like, you know, intro music and like wear your robe or something like that, because you're the one that's got to do all that work.
I've done stuff like that, but it's all pre-recorded, so it's kind of like, you know, my opening monologue, but it's not really live.
Well,
but I've done it.
but I'll have to say, Brad, is I think, and I text you after I started watching the show, because I think I was on, because I know it took you a little bit to kind of put the post-production version up on the internet, right, on YouTube. And I watched the intro, and I texted you that day, and I said, wow, that intro you put together for the Halloween show was phenomenal. You know, and it's definitely a shout out to you, like Kevin mentioned about doing our logo here, right? You do a lot of other, you know, you do other graphic stuff for a lot of folks, and it's a little side business, and a lot of your video stuff that you do too. I think definitely if anyone's here local or whatever, definitely give Brad a shout, because he does amazing graphics work. So yeah, so
Well, how would someone employ you for graphics?
Oh, well, you got to know a guy, and then that guy's got to know me. I really don't. It's not like a business necessarily. I will take money for it, but I really do a lot of it just to do it, just because, you know, somebody has a need and I have the capability. If I have the time, it's my pleasure, really. You know, the only thing I really charge for is like doing logo work, because a lot of times that takes a lot of revisions and things like that, and that takes a little bit more time. But for anything else, like if it's quick flyers or things like, or overlays for podcasts and things like that, it's just, you know, especially if they're in our network of podcasts, it's yeah. But, you know, if you have a project and you know how to get a hold of me, not hard to find.
Yeah, man. I can tell you that having the logo on stage that you designed for me, it's become like a whole adventure. But I got to get there early and hang it up and find a way to hang it. But every photo of me now has got my name and my website and my logo. It's so cool.
It's awesome.
And it's a great logo. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you. I mean, Will, you came to me. It was with a great idea, and we just put it together, man.
Yeah. So I got to know, what's the most embarrassing moment of podcasting you've had?
Oh my God, there have been some moments. I could think of two offhand. I think it was either an anniversary show or something like that. Some sort of, you know, 100th episode or anniversary show or something like that. And in our old lounge, I used to have a little mini bar right next to me, loaded. There was a regular bar for everybody else, and then I had my mini bar. And I've since done away with that in the new lounge, but because it causes problems. But, I love a good scotch, and I had many wonderful, rare scotches on my shelf, and I partook because we were celebrating. And to make a long story short, I don't remember ending the show. I don't remember signing off. I don't remember hitting any of the end buttons. And, of course, we live stream our show. So no idea what I said. I listened back in the morning with a raging headache, and I had this very long spiel at the end about how much I loved everybody that was there. And it went on for probably 8 minutes of just me being sappy. And I was like, this is so cringy. And so many times Jordan's like, okay, let's wrap it up. And I wasn't having it. I just kept going.
She's trying to give you the hook. You weren't paying no attention to it.
But my sign off was mint. I signed off. I ran the credits. Everything faded to black, and I saved the video, and everything was good.
And he faded to black.
The other one was I got really clever. This was pretty recently, and I got all my monitors to be pretty low so I could see over them and see everybody but still see what I was doing. So I had these really terrible makeshift monitor stands. Well, this particular episode was doomed from the start. Steve the Bruce was there, a wonderful character on our show. He's very colorful. And at one point we came back from a commercial or a music break. I reached over to grab my microphone. I tipped over my entire fresh beer all over my control desk.
Ooh.
When I reacted, all of my makeshift monitor stands failed, and all of my monitors fell down flat while we were live. And I was like, well, we're going to another song. We'll see you in a minute. And we went to another song. And my lovely sister, because she's a genius, comes back with another beer in a sippy cup. Because we have those lying around.
I can't wait to hear.
And I got to drink my beer out of a sippy cup for the rest of the night.
Oh, that's funny.
That was embarrassing because then I couldn't get the monitors back up on the stands right. So for the whole rest of the show, my monitors were flat on the desk.
Oh wow!
And if you ever see behind the scenes, like I have 3 huge monitors in front of me that I use to do all my stuff. You guys got it made in the shade over here. 1 laptop. That's what I need in my life.
You got to have a drummer set up the studio, and then it'll be very simplistic.
Are we already starting this already now?
Of course we are.
You know, I mean,
and we never stopped. What are you thinking?
We actually have a somebody who's represents both of this. So this is why this is unique and the perfect first guest for us is somebody who's both.
He does the riffs and the rhythms.
That's right. That's right. I was going to say rhythms first and riffs, but whatever.
It's called the Riffs and Rhythms podcast for a reason.
Well, I'll have you know, Mr. McLaughlin, it's definitely he has more of the rhythm parts in his show than he does riffs.
That's true. I'm actually a relatively terrible guitarist.
It's all recorded.
Are you a drummer who plays guitar or a guitarist who plays drums?
See, that's where it gets a little weird because I'm kind of not any of it.
Yeah. Or are you a singer who plays drums and guitars, or are you a guitar and drum player that sings?
Man, I think I'm an engineer that likes to build contraptions, and they make beautiful sounds. It just happens to be beautiful. But yeah, as a one-man band, I guess I am riffs and rhythms.
That's right.
And I'm not like the one-man band that kind of like has the thing on the back and the like. Yeah. Those guys are incredible. I watch them because I'm always looking for inspiration for the one-man band show, and like those guys are it. They're the OGs, and I could never. First of all, standing all night. No, I couldn't do it.
So Saturday I was down at Respectables in place here, a long time music venue down in West Palm, downtown West Palm, and it was their 36th anniversary, and there was a band up on the stage, and I'm like, where the hell's the drummer? Well, it was a guy who was standing at a table with a little punch, little
actuator pad?
or like a drum pad or something. Yeah,
he was just doing, and I'm like, is this somebody who couldn't afford the drums? Somebody who
That's
doesn't
big
want
nowadays. They've got those huge pads of buttons, and they assign trigger sounds to them. Yeah.
Is that
They
really?
call it a trigger pad or something?
hey
like
man,
that?
if it works,
It
my
definitely
drums
triggered me for sure.
my drums are all electronic. You know, though I did start with an acoustic set, but just wasn't able to generate the sounds. Like I could make the sounds. The sounds would happen: kick drum, snare drum,
Right.
blah blah blah. You name it. But they just weren't of the quality that I wanted for my particular show. It feature a lot of pop music from the '70s to today, and the electronic triggers just hit right. Like it's a perfect sound every time, and so that's when I made the move to electronic kit.
No, and it definitely if you never seen Brad perform live or even on on the internet, but yeah, you have a full sound, right? So it definitely adds a difference between just being the soloist, etc. So, but
Yeah, I
And
had
you
to,
guys- and
I had
you
to throw
two-
away
and you
being
two
a
guys-
purist.
and you two guys actually perform every so often as well, too, right?
We do. Kevin and I got a big gig coming up.
We do. We
We
do.
have a big gig coming up here.
A big gig.
Down in downtown West Palm Beach, actually, at
really?
Camelot.
Oh,
Doing a private party at Camelot. Yeah, it's not that kind of show though. For those of you that know Camelot,
I was just going to ask that.
it's not that kind of show. It's not that kind of show. I mean, it might be.
I've never been to Camelot. What is it normally used for?
I haven't either, but my wife knows all about Camelot. She's a.
Oh, what do they do? Drag shows there?
They do drag shows there. She loves drag shows.
I'm not going to be dragging anything except my balls.
I have a feeling you
You
guys
should
set up
probably-
that segment.
You should probably see a
for that, but-
doctor about that.
Or possibly my
Yeah.
knuckles.
What do you mean? What do you mean? See a doctor? He's old. His balls saggy.
Savage.
No, no.
That's what the show
Like
is
a
about.
brand new leather change purse, baby.
I get Botox in my balls, smooth as eggs.
There you go.
I can't even
Oh.
take credit for that. That was that was an old Dave Chappelle skit. I stole it straight from Dave.
That is a...
You know, we do clips. We do clips from the episodes.
That's
so.
the clip for this one.
Yes.
I keep trying to throw some zingers in there for you.
Oh,
That short form content.
that is the funniest thing I've
Oh
heard in a
my
long time.
God, yes. So yeah. So you got coming up here. New season's coming up there. So definitely check out the episodes there. Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
live on YouTube. You can go to our website, jnclive.tv, because I don't know, man. I feel like we're gonna eventually have to move away from the podcast thing because we just don't necessarily fit. I mean, we'll obviously be available there, but
Well,
it's
okay,
tough to call it a podcast.
Well, let me
know?
ask you that real quick. All right. So a lot of people say that you and I were talking about this. Was a friend of yours that mentioned, he goes, if it's on YouTube, it's not a podcast. But there are a lot of podcasts that are on YouTube that call themselves podcasts.
It was specifically discussed as the fact that YouTube is not a dedicated podcast platform.
That's not necessarily true now, though, because Google, obviously owns YouTube, and they did away with their podcast platform, and they've integrated it now into YouTube, so you can run your RSS feed right through YouTube. And
So outdated info.
oh, we're nerding out here, guys. Nerds.
Yeah, RSS feed
Yes. Sorry.
So getting them all
In
hot.
the culture
sounds
now.
like something you give chickens.
But yeah, we're a radio show that radio stations don't want. Yeah. But that's
Well, you got to
what we
start
are.
your own radio show.
If
then
you like morning talk radio and the shenanigans that come along with it, that's what our show is.
yeah, it does come across like a morning talk. radio,
And
yeah.
it's better to watch it. So,
Yeah.
is it a radio
Yeah, it
show?
Very,
is it a
very
TV
visual,
show?
Very visual. Yeah, you guys are definitely visual. Yeah. So, but then there's even times listening to the audio when, if you're in the car, immediately you're like, oh, I got to go. Now I have to go to the YouTube and watch what the hell did I just.
What the hell is happening?
Right. What the hell is they slapping each other with?
We did a whole episode with axe throwing, and listening back to it, because I try to when I think if something might not transfer well to audio only, I listen and I'm like, well, this isn't gonna be. So I actually in that episode on like Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, when it got to that part, I said, go watch it on YouTube, but enjoy the rest of the show. And it goes to Jordan's incredibly informative news segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the axe throwing was good too. That was a good memory too.
Yeah.
That was dangerous. I look back and go, there was no safety protocol for this. We did have a first aid kit out there, though. We did have a first aid kit.
One bandage.
Yeah.
It was a whole kit. I bought a whole kit. I really went out safety first.
Those new
right?
bandages are great when a finger gets cut off. They work. They work.
And I had a little sewing kit out there too.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Suture it right up.
A little cooler for the ice with ice for the fingers. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
move the beers
you have
aside.
Time
but
to get the sewing kit.
It was right here. This is.
Hey, can you pass me another beer? Are you gonna move the finger out of the way?
Don't lose it though.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, cool. So we're definitely, like I said, again, appreciate you, Brad, for coming in and being our first guest. And definitely, I know there's a lot of collaboration we go through and we talk about, and the podcast families. Like I said, you and I have worked a lot over the last, 4 years as well, helping me, and we've both been on each other's shows on Drums and Rums, and just again, we love helping each other out and trying to help keep us both help moving forward and opportunities. And Al's show's a new one. It's part of the network there. Obviously our show here. And then even, I took that little break from the Drums and Rums and had brought Nia on, my good friend Nia, do rum reviews on the Drums and Rums channel. So there's a lot kind of cool going on. So did you see the little TikTok video I sent you about the white guy public podcasting?
I don't know if I got a chance to watch it though.
All right. So when we get a break, we'll have to pull it up
I'll
there
have to
because
pull it
I sent it back to the person who sent me. I said, I feel very triggered. So it was, so I took it personal. But definitely a good time to segment into a little bit of music news here. I think we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna need to re up on another bush line.
Wanna go for it?
I got
there
a
you go.
collection here.
Yeah.
There we go. And thank you guys for having me on as a guest. This is very cool. It's nice to be not in charge. I don't know what to do with my hands, so I'm glad I'm holding this microphone.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing the camera's not a full body shot. I
yeah.
can tell you that.
That's right. Yeah, because he doesn't even have his pants on.
Well, it's just like a jams and cocktails episode.
Yeah, see, he was already slurring his own podcast name earlier.
And thank you for not putting me in between you guys and let me have this couch over here.
Yeah, I was
they were
thinking
trying to
about
put
that.
me up in between them, and I was like, old Brad's gonna need a little bit of space.
Yeah, we thought.
I'm not very tall, but I'm relatively wide. If you catch my drift, I'm fat.
We'd have to go bust.
PHAT, baby.
What's ASMR?
We'd have to go and bust out the 8-foot table then.
Oh, we have an 8-foot table?
I was just gonna say, you have a bigger table. What the hell is going on here, Paul?
Yeah, I busted out like meeting. Go to Home Depot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Home Depot is
oh,
our
hold on.
warehouse. We just go get
Hold
what
on.
we need.
Oh, here he goes. Bush.
Head for the mountains.
You did it a lot better than Kevin did because Kevin opened up his beer and spooged all over the microphone that one time.
Yeah, it got all over
He
everything.
got all excited.
Oh, that was another Jams and Cocktails episode. That was great. The first time Kevin ever did a shotgun out of a beer can.
I just watched the repeat
We
of
did
that.
that. Wasn't
recently.
that was our white trash episode? Where
Was it the Florida Man
Yeah, it was the
episode?
Ode to Florida Man. It was the
Oh,
National
yeah, that
Florida
was fun.
Man Day. It's a national day. Look what we've done here. That was great. Oh my God, you and Ellie were horrible.
Well, once I figured it out, I got better at it.
You wore half of that beer.
Yeah,
I
I
looked
know.
over and it looked like Kevin was in the splash zone at SeaWorld.
Yeah, truly.
That was good.
Yeah, my shirt was soaked.
Wet T-shirt contest.
It was poor Ellie. She was wearing a white T-shirt.
Yeah.
She didn't wear it like you though.
Yeah, thank goodness.
That was a.
And
that
she
was
does it
something.
way better than I do. She wears white T-shirts way better than me.
All right, that's my sister.
There you go. Awkward.
Well, that's all I'm going to say.
That's all I want to say about that. All right, so we got our what's going on in music news here?
Well, music news, we have a huge event that just went on over the weekend. Iconic rock stars, Kiss, had their final show ever.
Wait. What do you mean final? There's no such thing with final in those guys.
So yeah, here's the caveat.
What had happened was.
What had happened
Yeah.
was, and of course, Gene Simmons, the marketing spokesperson, he's like, "This is the final, this is the final one, it's the final one, it's the final one," and then finally they include the whole quote, which is the final live in makeup show.
Okay.
So what they did was they had the last two nights at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
I'm having trouble speaking as well.
Welcome to the club.
And at the end of the show, they announced the future plans for Kiss. And like Kiss being the giants of everything that they are, they're not going to be messing around with, all these tribute bands. Although there's a lot of great ones. I've got some friends who do great jobs. Great job. And what they've got is they've got technological avatars that are going to be performing for them. So it's going to be like virtual Kiss, and they're exploded into their superhuman form. And you can go to a Kiss concert, and you're going to be watching digitally AI-generated avatars.
Wait, but they've done already the Biggie and Tupac and Michael Jackson. Is that kind of like what it is?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
So I think the quote was that I read is, "This is the end of the band, but not the end of the brand."
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, and yes, at the Garden, when they left the stage, these 4 holograms appeared above the stage, like huge banners, and they went on their spiel about how this isn't the end of Kiss, it's just the end of our time as Kiss, right? And so instead of everybody capitalizing on, starting their own Kiss tribute bands, they are producing their own tribute shows with other people. So they will cast like Broadway, like when you have Broadway or off-Broadway shows, the same show, different casts. They're going to cast their own replacements for their tribute bands and sign off on, obviously, the authenticity. And then now we're going to have dozens of Kiss bands touring the country simultaneously.
I would say it's more likely that they would build their own Kiss theater.
That would be dope, too. Could you imagine down on
Vegas.
Broadway or in Vegas?
Yeah,
Vegas for
Broadway,
sure.
Vegas, Atlantic City, Houston, Singapore, Tokyo, Shanghai.
Because who puts on a more compelling rock show than Kiss?
Few, very few.
I think if they did a Broadway show, is like it's the history of how they've gone through their 50+ years of starting out was Wicked Lester, or and how they all met. And I guess they're auditioning for people to be in Kiss, to be continuing on.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
do you-
sure like
so
how
do you-
how
can you
how far along they are in that process.
Can
but
you imagine Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley show up to audition to be in their own band that they were used to be originally members of?
No, that's not going to happen.
That's not gonna happen. They're so angry and ornery about it, and they have their own careers and lives now.
Yeah, but if
I
you
don't think they
read
even
if
wanna
you read
be a
Ace
part of it.
Frehley's book, he left because he knew he'd be dead any minute if he didn't. And he doesn't. The name of his book is No Regrets. You got to watch it if you're a rock and roll fan at all. Watching that, watch the book.
I'm gonna watch the book right on the shelf.
If you do enough LSD, you can watch the
You
movie.
can watch the book. Yeah, it even talks for you if you do enough LSD. But yeah, and those guys, they're marketing geniuses. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. They've in the 70s they took literally created themselves as cartoon characters, and they own. They're that band that like everybody loves to hate, but
Right.
they still love them.
Yep. Don't get real credibility or recognition, but they're still doing it, and people are still showing up.
Well, the
And now
kind
they're
of
not just showing up, but they're filling the Garden.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
know,
recognition,
like-
Paul. I mean, when you
That's
when
crazy.
you're filling the Garden for days in a row, that's recognition.
I've seen it a couple times, so.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw Kiss, I was very angry at them because I did not know that they got rid of Ace Frehley. I went to see Ace Frehley,
Oh, wow.
and there's this weirdo guy, Vinnie Vincent, playing. I'm like, I don't even like that guy. Get him out. Get Ace back.
The Egyptian Ankh.
How do you guys feel about that when you see a band, especially these aging bands? A story comes to mind with Journey, I believe. So Journey, they're currently the current touring Journey is only the 2 original members, and of course, I forget the kid's name that's singing for them now. He's amazing, but
Pineda,
something.
Arlen Pineda, something like that.
So something happened, and the 2 original members, they couldn't make the show in West Palm Beach, and so effectively, everybody who had a ticket to see Journey was going to see a tribute band, and I think I might have been upset if I had gone to that show. None of the original band was there. I mean, I'm sure they were great, but I saw Sister Hazel recently, and they had a fill-in drummer, and I was a little disappointed. They were great, and the drummer was great, and as a musician, I really appreciated his skill because his face was in charts all night. Like, you could just visually see him staring at charts and not missing a beat. And I was like, that's impressive. But I was like, man, how would this show have been if it was the lineup? Because Sister Hazel, they're all still together. 100%. The band is still 100% from when they were founded back in the 90s. So
it's just
that's cool.
Just a fill-in drummer for the night.
Just a fill-in drummer for the night.
Okay.
I guess the guy had it was right, the week of Thanksgiving.
Because it's rhythms, they're the most easily replaceable.
Of course, you just give them some charts, and anybody, a child could do it.
I feel like I'm getting set up.
So
here.
I look at it. There's 2 perspectives that you can look at it from. One is like, that's blasphemy. How could you do that? Right? That's not the band. And the other, like, is being involved in as many aspects of shows as I have been. You see these guys where it's like, it's the drummer or the bass player, and the name of the band and the brand is owned by the lead singer's ex-wife's dog groomer's accountant. But these guys are out there doing it, not in a pure form, but like, the 2 guys that are original, they come out with walkers and they sit down and play. But what are they going to do? Go to McDonald's and ask if you want fries with that? It's a way better way to make your money.
I totally get it. And I feel like the question is, are you there for the songs or are you there for the musicians? And I'm, with different bands, feel differently. Sometimes, a perfect example for me is the original Wailers and the Wailers. They're both bands that are out there touring off of Bob Marley's music, and they're both great. But I don't think I'm there. And they each have an original member from or a past member of the Wailers, and they both have great singers, and the musicianship is great, and they really do justice to the songs. And I go, I just love the songs. Like, Bob Marley was a poet and a mouthpiece of a generation, and the songs are massive, right? And then there's other people I go to see that if the musicians were replaced or the singer was replaced, it would do nothing for me,
Okay, so I've got one for you, though. So I just heard today that I guess Rush is going to make another run at this.
I've read the article.
Okay.
Technically, that's true, but technically, it's also not true. The reality of the story is that Alex and Geddy have moved forward enough in overcoming the tragic situation of losing their drummer to the point where they're willing to sit down and talk about writing some songs together. And they, by their own words, they're like, well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be Rush. It just means that we're willing to start writing songs. They could suck and we could throw them all in the garbage. You never know.
That's a tough one because Neil was really the creative force behind Rush.
Mm-hmm.
In case y'all didn't know, Alex and Geddy are both incredible musicians and iconic in their way. And obviously, Neil, arguably the greatest drummer that ever lived.
Well, I don't envy
Present company excluded.
Yeah, and an amazing lyricist as well.
And yes, he was the creative force behind Rush with his story songs, and that's what compelled me to love Rush was these like comic book, like graphic novel
Journey.
ideas that he would come up with, and and then put him on wax, and you just listen to this amazing story. Anyway, I would be interested to see what Geddy and Alex come up with, having been influenced by Neil for so long. Could they put something together, or maybe they put something together that's completely different?
I've got to imagine they've got notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks full of song ideas that that include Neil's input. Just probably the first 6 months would be sifting through that to see what jumps off the page at them.
Well, we were talking about Charlie Watson when we reviewed the Rolling Stones songs, right? Some of his stuff did make it on the new album.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
his parts were released. The album was released posthumously, as they say.
So, that's not funny.
No, it means posthumously. It means like behind your elbow, right? Oh, sorry. No, that's humorous.
Humorous, though. So Kiss is living on.
Kiss is living on. As Brad says, it's not the end of the band. It's the end of the... Wait.
All the way around.
Yeah.
But you were there.
Yeah.
I was there with you. I was following along.
They said two words that were similar. That's what they did.
Two fucking guitar players following each other because you should be following the drummer.
We don't talk when we play guitar.
Oh.
We talk with our guitar.
Just like Peter Frampton.
Yep.
I do have one little update from a news story we did about Hall & Oates, though.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yes, so we were speculating some things that could be going on about this lawsuit that Daryl Hall filed against John Oates.
And now we get the rest of the story.
That's right. So it was sealed, like...
Thank you, Paul Harvey.
Whatever you call that thing when you seal a sealed document, sealed lawsuit.
Oh, they've unsealed the seal.
So we've got to the story now.
So the secretary finally opened the envelope.
So that's right. So Kevin and I thought it was all a scam to kind of sell more albums and kind of, or to drum up about a new album coming out, but no. What it comes to is...
Oates is mad because he's not as tall as Hall.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I knew it.
That was it. So, no. Oates and his side of the company, his wife, his manager, or whatever, they want to sell off their share of the music rights. Daryl Hall doesn't want to, doesn't believe in all of that, selling off your music rights, where I'm sure there's a big cash payout, right? Because everyone's doing it.
Correct.
But I guess Daryl is totally against it.
I can see why.
And I guess he's got to agree to part of the signing off to the rights or who he's going to sell it to and so forth. But I'll tell you what, maybe not this podcast, not this episode, but it'd be really interesting to talk to you guys about that. Where is all this selling off of the music rights that going to? Because a lot of big investment and banks and things like that are the ones that are buying all this up. Where is that going, and what is going to happen? Take the music industry. So, but yes,
I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact on the music industry. We're talking about residual income collection. Buying the publishing rights of a song means that you buy the residual income that song generates.
Just going forward.
Going forward, not backwards.
And it doesn't stop them from writing new songs.
Oh no,
and,
right.
Because wasn't there? There was a group, still very relevant. One Republic. Mm-hmm. They sold off their entire catalog of tunes, and then released a brand new album, and they have hit songs on it. Yeah. So it's like all this back catalog, and they're still creating music that isn't included in that. And I want to know the end of the story, like maybe not today, but like the end of the saga, because it's gonna be because I read an article that this particular media company that's buying or interested in buying already owns part of the Hall & Oates catalog, so they're just looking to add to it.
More.
So what was the big deal? Why did Daryl Hall, was it that he needed that cash payout at the time? Hey man, John shaved his mustache, and now nobody wants to hire him. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now he needs money. And his wife's like, we got bills.
Mm-hmm.
And Daryl Hall, he just started back up live at Daryl's house.
Oh, we just talked about that.
Kevin just started it back up.
Kevin's on the waiting.
And it is great.
Kevin's on the waiting list.
And I'm upset because I looked at them both as father figures together as a unit. And now dad and dad are fighting.
Shit, we hit a point here, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We got a trigger. All right. So, but these guys are singers. Singers are ridiculous to get along with. I'm surprised they even were able
and
to function at
Daryl
all.
went on record saying, and this is before all this was going down, he went on record saying that John and him were great business partners, but they were not creative partners at all. So, like it was very much a business situation. So that says that they don't really like each other, but they know that they can make money together. But they ain't doing much these days.
Well, I can understand Daryl Hall. It's Daryl Hall, right?
Yes.
It's not John Hall. Daryl Hall. I can understand.
John Hall sells cars in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, he does. Yes. And then we know that Daryl Oates is a horse feed company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Out in Okeechobee.
yeah. And
I missed that.
the Hall and Oates is
conversation.
actually a cereal by General Spills, and no, but what I'm seeing with Daryl Hall is like somebody's going to buy into and be a 50-50 partner with him in his business. Like, what kind of jerk am I going to be dealing with here? I'm going to be my 50-50 business partner is going to be a non-creative entity that's just here to milk my stuff for money when I'm trying to keep my brand going in a certain direction. That's a nightmare as a business owner.
And that's what I heard is part of the reasoning is that he doesn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't
But-
want to either.
So
What happened earlier where this company already owns some of the catalog? That's where I need. That's the X factor that I need
Brad-
in my life to feel okay with any of this.
Brad, you apparently didn't listen to this episode because we talked.
We got cue card
So,
girl.
yes.
You're going to do some research and find out what happened
Yes.
with this previous purchase.
Stop drinking and.
I would
take
be willing
notes.
to bet that it happened in the 80s and there was drugs involved.
Yes, but we talked with how they actually met at a sock hop
A sock hop.
Oh, I did. I
because
did
of
listen to this
gun
bit.
violence. Gun violence brought them together.
As long as it's
you
not
were-
a crunchy sock
And you guys
hop.
were like, didn't sock hops stop in the 50s?
Yeah, they did.
I'm pretty sure they were like born then.
Oh my God! So all right, so it's continued. So the story continues with Hall and Oates, and we will get our investigative journalist on this story to dig into it.
I'll put Jordy on it. We'll get to the bottom of it in the Jordy
Perfect.
files.
There we
Yes.
go.
It
Yeah,
might
that's
take
right.
25 minutes
Well-
to get through the script, but
I think this is what we need to do: is we need to plant little stories along the way to make people watch our show, your show, our show, your show, and then you have to find these little Easter eggs.
Yeah, but wait.
should we do that? Should we do like a scavenger hunt?
You
That'd
know what
be-
I was
yes,
thinking? I was
yes.
thinking this is I don't know if anybody is a fan of the DC shows like Supergirl and the Flash and Green Arrow or whatever. Have anybody seen any of those on Netflix?
no.
They did something super cool. It's like 4 or 5 shows that are all DC Comics characters, and they're all done by the same production company. The same people make it all just different actors. And they took a storyline and they switched it around between all of the different
Kind of
shows.
like weaved it through.
Yeah, so like you could be watching the show and then it says, okay, if you want to continue the storyline, you got to go watch Supergirl now, starting on this episode. And it's like they
Like a choose your own adventure almost kind of thing.
well, it's like imagine a whole series, like a whole season of a Netflix show, and they took 1/3 of it and put it on this show, and then 1/3 and put it on that show, and 1/3 and put it on a different show, and so you've got to watch all 3 shows to see the whole story. That was cool.
like it.
I think we should do that.
Yes. We should do like a Queensryche version of podcast episodes. Operation Mindcrime.
Mind crime.
So we could have like a concept podcast.
Yes.
I think that's the point in general, though, isn't it? You are such a drummer.
All right.
I'm gonna need many more bush lights to.
Yes, we're gonna have
Yeah,
to.
you
about
got to
all
catch up,
this.
brother. You only 3 in
We're
there.
gonna have to.
Go-
What
yeah.
about you, Jackson? What do you
They're,
think about
they're
that?
tall boys.
Well, Jackson's got a nice little knobby thing here to hold on to.
Dude, don't touch the knob.
He's got some
Yeah.
good. He's got
Look at-
some
look at
heavy
that.
stones.
Yes, we're sending this shot there of Brad to his AA support person.
My
there.
AA sponsor.
No,
Yeah.
no, we're not doing
My
And this-
AAA sponsor.
This podcast is brought to you by Bush Light.
Bush Light.
Bush.
Ironically, on the white trash episode, this is what we were drinking.
Bush is my favorite crappy beer. It
really is good.
It's good. It's good. When I was a kid, my dad drank Bush, And
So these are the ones that you stole for the first time.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so it takes you right back to childhood.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. It tastes right to me because I started drinking it when I was like 5.
You know, I don't really drink them, or didn't really drink them. And then one of the bars that I play music at, they started carrying them. And it's, you know, like, I like a good tall boy. I don't have time to just keep getting beers throughout.
Is it like the PBR that
And it
came
is.
back
It's
and
the
got
same-
popular?
Yeah, so you got PBR and the tall boys, and then you got Busch Light. And PBRs, when they get warm, they're the worst beer on earth, but they're great, super cold.
Like a McDonald's shake.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly right.
Do
Or
they-
their fries.
Does PBR's curdle?
Yeah, they
But
turn
Busch
into their
Light,
individual elements.
Even if it gets a little warm, it's still terrible. It's just terrible from start to finish. So you really, there's nowhere to go when you're at the bottom.
Yes, you embrace the terrible.
There's nowhere else to go. It's already awful.
That's
Thank
what you
you,
told
Busch
her.
Light.
And that's how you get married.
Hey, baby. You're already at the ground floor. There's just nowhere else to go.
Yeah, you've hit the bottom of the barrel. You're here, and let's do it.
All I got to go is up.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this show up here. So definitely, let's bring it home.
Riffs and Rhythms, and I'm the Skunk Ape, and we're signing off. Bye.
Perfect.
Was that good?
Perfect.
That was
We
awesome.
didn't stop, actually. Perfect. Well, there goes to keeping us trying to keep under.
There was no way that was a half an hour.
No, fuck no, it wasn't.
That's an hour.